Oh, here we go.
All right, we have.
So returning, we got Mark returning, right? We saw Mark's game a couple rounds ago.
Yes, we did.
He's on the Amber Steel dock list, but with no mines, so a little bit different there. And we see an Amethyst Steel deck. This is gonna be fun.
Yes, I think you're gonna have a good time watching this one. Let's take a look and see. All right, and we have our friends here that are getting ready. We are drawing into the mulligan. Are we post? I think we are. I don't know if we're post mulligan or if we are.
They just rolled dice. I think
they did just roll
the
dice.
First 7.
Right.
I will say, and this is might spoil what the deck is, but it might not.
Yeah, whatever.
But I'm gonna talk about myself for like 2 seconds.
Go for it.
I did get to play this deck in Atlanta.
All right.
And I got 66th place.
Wow.
I might be a little salty about it because I had the same amount of points as 5 people in front of me that got in. So, but yeah, I played this deck in Atlanta. Not this exact deck. Obviously, it's been changed quite a bit. But yeah, this is spicy.
Forbidden Mountain. Why are you over here telling our secrets?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know it is. And listen, he's gonna be the villain in a couple sets. Let's see him start.
Yeah.
That reign.
Yeah. Buy your Amethyst Jafars now.
Yes. We are calling it through to the moon for those Jafars.
But real talk, I honestly think it is a very well positioned deck.
Okay. Tell me about that. Why?
Because there is less Medusas and Ruby Sapphire.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So sure, Shark's a problem.
Yeah.
But you can probably end the game by the time that you turn that Jafar sideways.
Yeah.
And if they don't have that Medusa, they have to have 2 ice blocks to remove the Jafar most of the time.
Yes.
Right? And
it's
not on curve most of the time again.
Yeah.
So that used to be one of the worst matchups, the Ruby Sapphire.
Okay.
Not to mention, these Amber Steel versions are moving away from the traditional versions with Whole New World.
They are.
That version is hard for this deck, is hard for Jafar Wheel as well. The fact that they're transitioning more to this low to the ground dock, they don't have as many answers to a Jafar.
Interesting. Because I think you might be right. I think there's some argument to be made. Like, is there a more efficient way to build Amethyst Steel? Is it more efficient to not have to deal with the combo? Is it less efficient? So I think seeing what can happen here. I think Roger is going to carry on his back.
Yep.
How powerful this can be. Now, mind you, they are currently in top seed. This is table number 1. We didn't have to do any kind of maneuvering, any kind of finagling to get this table to be here. Roger is legitimately table 1, and so has made it this far with this deck, and we're going to see it. Yeah, and here we start off. Roger's going to get to go first, and we're seeing a Robin Hood on the play.
Let's talk about Robin Hood.
Okay.
So I think a lot of the misconception with the Amethyst Steel Jafar list is, hey, if I kill Jafar, I win. Sometimes, sure.
Maybe.
But how hard is it to kill a Robin Hood this meta?
I hate it.
It's
I hate
pretty
Robin
rough.
Hood.
I mean, obviously, crabs do their thing.
Yes.
And an Amethyst. This obviously is an Amethyst deck, but it's not as easy to remove as it used to be.
It's not.
Bell's also, I guess, relevant. But
yeah, absolutely. And what we're seeing here is Mark is looking potentially, and we'll get a view on the hand in a moment. Potentially is looking to banish that Robin Hood before turn 3, and it becomes a problem, and there's a shift involved.
Yeah, and we are viewing Mark again. As you mentioned, we only had 3 matches of undefeated players, and each of those matches had someone that had been on stream already. So
correct. Yes.
We wanted to see the Jafar Wheel. So
yeah,
they were also table 1.
They were we didn't have. Yeah, they were table 1 as is, and so we're seeing the Steel Jafar come down. We have to wonder, does
I like this because I think it means that Roger's kind of bluffing. Maybe he's not bluffing, but the Robin Hood now. Mark has to make a choice. If he does have the Storm,
yes.
What do you shoot?
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. What is the bigger problem? What are you more scared of?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you? Does Mark even think that Jafar is still a thing? Maybe Mark thinks this is spice. Maybe Mark thinks that the Jafar is just spice. Maybe there is.
Yeah.
No, nobody would come to this thing with a Jafar wheel deck. That is crazy.
I will say at this point, it's probably gotten around.
You
5
think
rounds
so?
in, I think it's gotten around.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I mean, there's a lot of people out there.
Especially if he's doing well.
Yeah. Now, look, he chose to take out
the Robin Hood.
The Robin Hood. So Robin Hood is what got banished here. So we'll see. We'll see if that's true or not. We are seeing Calhoun. Again, we talked about Calhoun earlier. Calhoun is a fantastic card. A fantastic thing to play when you are on the draw. It gives you a little bit of ability to say, hey, I dare you. I dare you to do something.
Mm-hmm. And it was strength and not storm, which is also relevant because it takes away an inkable card.
Correct. It's very telling.
And doesn't reveal it.
Yeah.
It doesn't refill itself.
Correct. That tells me that is either the last one or you're about to be in a lot of trouble, because if you have to play another one of those on me, you're losing more ink.
And there goes the big Robin Hood, as we mentioned.
All right. So the bluff was not a bluff. There was in fact
Fairy. Nice.
Oh, Blue Fairy. Okay.
This is great. This is great setup. I don't know about this quest. Okay. Oh, I actually do like that.
Give me 2 lore. I was gonna say there's no way.
That's not a bad move at all for him.
Yeah.
And you're kind of taking some of the board away.
Yep.
Oh wow. You see what Mark just drew?
No, I didn't. What was that?
That's a storm.
That's a storm.
Yep.
Mark must be upset. You lose your Cindy. You sacrifice your Cindy.
But now he's able to kill or banish the fairy.
Correct.
And the Jafar, but he does nothing to board.
Correct.
Which puts him in a terrible spot.
I mean, it does it though, because Roger got to go first. Mm-hmm. If you can make yourself equal, where Roger is now currently 1 character up.
Yeah.
Is that really a terrible spot, or are we actually claiming some tempo?
With no board and the Amber Steel deck, I don't think that's where you want to be for 4 turns into the game.
Okay, all right. I mean, I guess we'll see who's right.
Well, I guess they're both at no board, but the Amethyst Steel player is getting to react first. I get what you're saying, that they went first.
Yeah, and
yeah, because you're losing your pieces, right? Like we talked about Cindy last time we had Mark on stream. Cindy is like that load. She's the gun that you're just loading with more and more characters. That eventually is going to be this massive strength that comes down. That's true. He does exactly that. Oh, well, that's the wrong way. Yep. He's still going the wrong way. There he goes.
There you go. All right, we got it. We figured it out. All right,
he does get 2 lore.
He does.
Yeah, he does get 2 lore.
So what he got for an empty board is he got some lore, which I don't think is the worst thing in the world. We're still early on in the game. You got to wonder what he's expecting.
Inking the Jafar. That
bad. No. Okay, so we had to ink the Jafar, but we do have. I suspected we would see the Jafar.
Snake Jafar.
Yes, the Dreadnought Jafar, the Dreadnought, who allows you to draw a card whenever he banishes a character, and has a healthy amount of strength and willpower.
Oh no, Mark has to read it.
Listen, no shame in that game. It's okay. Read the card.
Has it been that long since Jafar Wheel has been a thing?
Yeah. Well, because the last
was it ever a thing? I guess
it was. Yeah, there was this card back in the day called Bucky, and people used to play it all the time. When this really cool card.
Yeah.
No, well, Bucky is still a thing, but Bucky is a different thing now.
Definitely a different thing.
Yes.
Definitely a different thing. Do you think, because we haven't really been able to see Roger's hand?
Yes.
Do you think he has another big Jafar in hand? Can you imagine if it's a whole new world and Jafar in his last 3 cards?
I mean,
can he run that hot?
Can he run that hot? That's a fantastic question. I mean, we're talking about a shift of what, 5, correct? Is that
so? If he draws an Inkable with Jafar out, shifts it, plays whole new world, full hand. Jafar. There's a whole new world and a storm, and I can't see the middle card.
So we know 2 of the 3, so we know a whole new. So we're playing the storm.
I don't know if I like that.
And dealing damage to the Rapunzel, which is
he does have the Jafar.
Okay.
But he can't sing it now.
He was looking to draw into the Inkable is what I imagine happened.
But then you can't sing it though. You could still shift it so that it can't swing back in.
Yeah.
But what are you worried about in Amber Steel?
I mean, it's Amber Steel. You maybe there's a Zeus waiting for you.
I don't hate actually shifting it anyways.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And then just leaving it there, like
it's evasive. Yeah, so it's evasive. So it's not like any of the current threats on the board can do anything to it except blasting it. Which, in all fairness, it can be blasted now.
Another one. Does he see all 3?
That is okay. It's rough, but I think you have to.
Jim.
And there's Jim. All right, so we're seeing Jim Hawkins hit the table.
Another card. This is my little tell. I love when my opponent has to read my cards. Yeah. That is like one of my favorite things.
Okay, well, from now on, I'm just going to pretend like I know what it does and just hope that I don't make a mistake. Thanks for telling me that, and I will never do that again.
I love when my opponents do that. That's like when I'm bringing my brew for locals.
Yeah.
Even at major events, I'm like, I just want them to grab one of the cards that I'm playing.
Yeah, just one
card. What does that do again?
Yeah, what is this card?
So Jim's a 5/5. The reason I didn't like putting the 2 damage onto the Rapunzel is I feel like someone playing a 4-cost Rapunzel is a tell that they have another one behind it.
Yeah.
And if he does have the Rapunzel, he kind of gets blown out. Yeah, this is actually a Jafar Wheel. That's why we got... And he's undefeated right now.
Yes. Yes, this is actually...
We did not manipulate this at all to get him on stream. It was literally... This is
table 1. This is table 1. Yeah. Big facts, no cap, on God. I love that. Yes. Absolutely.
See, I wonder if you don't sing Whole New World though,
Um,
because Mark's out of gas.
yeah, well, yeah. Now that Pete just came down too, so keep that in mind too.
Yeah, he can't do it this turn.
Yeah, so he's gonna have to wait.
That, but have Roger PM me later.
Yeah. Are you R&B? Are you gonna get him linked up to a good therapist, or what's what's going on? All right.
Another Jafar. Probably don't mind. You don't quest here because you. Oh, I guess you. Do.
I guess you do quest here. I guess Roger quests here. You don't quest here. Roger quests here, and Roger's gonna go to 4 on
so
that.
we know his last card's a Whole New World.
We do know that, yes.
And now your singer, your only singer,
is in danger of getting blasted. Yeah.
Which maybe he's okay with.
Maybe we're okay with that. We'll see.
I'm telling you, I don't think it's that bad in the meta right now.
Yeah.
The more the Steel Song shifts away from traditional and goes towards this dock version, I do think it could be a good tech.
Okay, yeah, and we've got some friends of Roger who might be speaking out there in the chat too, which is pretty cool. All right, so we're seeing some thoughts here. We're seeing thinking. Those hand motions right now from Mark are the hands of a person who is thinking about what they want to do. And though a Baloo comes down, great card. Yeah, just go wide. Put a barrier, put a bodyguard in front that gets lore when it goes away, when it gets banished, and just make problems for Roger. Mark is doing what I believe to be the correct thing in this gameplay. Just go as wide as you can. Things to be worried about. You don't know if he's playing things like grab your sword. You know, and so that could create some issues for you too. So you got to be careful, but you also have to believe.
I do feel like that shooting the Rapunzel is really going to come back to bite him eventually.
I'm surprised that Rapunzel has not healed itself with a clone Rapunzel yet.
Yeah, I really like that. Again, a tell to me is just I don't want to give them 2 damage, right? To draw 2 cards.
Yes, that's it.
But Roger may not know he's not on Whole New World. I mean, I would think that Doc now 100% gives it away.
I feel like it should. If you've played enough...
He's seen a lot of songs.
He has seen a lot of songs.
You could think he's just bricking on Ariel.
Correct.
All the other cards he's seen are not super uncommon in an Amber Steel build.
Yeah. Yep. That is... This is an interesting board state for both players. You know, they're still early on in the game. Aladdin. We're seeing an Aladdin.
Roger is just gonna quest.
Yes, Roger is. Now that Aladdin is an interesting card to play. You think about the power of that card in the Ruby Sapphire matchup, and what it can do to help minimize it. Oh, my apologies. Yep. I'm blind. I thought that was the bigger one. My apologies.
But I assume he is playing the bigger Aladdin as well.
Okay, yeah.
Floodborns.
Yes.
Aladdin on curve is nice. Blue Fairy into Aladdin is super nice.
Yes.
So 4. Okay. Sven, they're ready.
Nice. All right, so we're seeing Sven making
another
appearance.
Doc. Oh yeah.
We'd love it. We'd love to see it. Discard your non-existent hand to draw 2 more cards.
2 big Jafars in the inkwell and 0 wheels on this bus. There is a wheel in his hand, sir. We saw it earlier, but unfortunately doesn't have a singer for it. And at this point, Mark has gone so wide.
Yeah, it would.
I feel like wheeling is probably a little rough.
It is. Yeah. So we're watching the
tapping.
Yeah, it looks like 2, 3.
3, yeah.
I'm guessing to play. Oh, a Pete to stop any actions from coming through. All right, so we'll see what Roger decides to do now that there is a Pete on the board. There is a inability for Mark to play actions going into the next turn.
I agree. Him questing that Hawkins was a big mistake.
Yeah. I would imagine Roger is experiencing that in real time.
Did he just draw a Kita? Is that what they just said?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that Kita is about to.
Yes.
Really do some numbers.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's about to put some numbers up on the board, and we're watching here.
Kita and Cindy.
And
just play both.
Yeah.
No, he's at 5. Never mind. No, he's at 6.
Yeah, he should. Well, you'll be able to ink now. So now you could play 5 and then the 1. All right, so we're questing out.
2, 4, 6, 7.
Yep, which puts you to should be the number is 11 right now. 11 and 9.
Kill anything on board. Oh, and Piglet. Cindy. It's a Piglet.
And there's the Kita.
Yeah, that's I think that's game for Roger.
Yep. Roger is I think to your point, I think that is a fact game.
Yeah, I Boomy, I agree on Kita being a very good card. Especially in this meta now with purple being everywhere and so much combat being done, it makes Kita very relevant. Even with Crab, she still is relevant.
Yeah, it's crazy how powerful she is, and I would agree. I think she's very, very underrated. But to your point, I think people are waking up to it.
I don't think it mattered at that point, Blader.
Yeah.
The sequencing there, like, I don't know what Amethyst Steel could do to get past that Baloo.
Yeah. All right, so we are going to move into game 2 of this 5th round. We are watching here as they get ready for their next round. So, I always like to think about this as a player myself. I think about if I'm going into this next game. So Roger's going to get to go first. I always ask myself, what do I need to do to deal with what I just saw?
His answer would be probably hold that Jim Hawkins.
Okay.
I think that would have really changed the game. I also, again, I wasn't a fan of that singing onto the Rapunzel. He didn't really get punished for it. But
yeah.
I don't know, playing that 4-cost Rapunzel, maybe he was anticipating the wheel.
Okay.
I want a 5 health body on board to maybe get more draw after he wheels me.
Yeah.
And that was maybe what Mark was thinking, but shooting the Rapunzel, just give him 2 draw, I'm not a big fan of. But what cards are you looking for? It has to be... Yeah. I mean, Mark did find a lot of his removal.
He did. Now, I will say this. It did feel like that the reason why Roger did that was because he was looking for an ink that he didn't have, and that ink allowed him, would had he gotten it, would have allowed them to shift, even with the character sideways. Now, on screen, you are seeing, we've got the list of the undefeated players that are in the tournament still, that are after round 4. So, again, we're seeing 2 of them right now. They're at the top there. And we've also got both Tiago and Jonathan who are running with Ruby Sapphire. We've got Ruby Amethyst and Casey, and then Jack is still in the running.
My hero.
The hero of the day.
Jack's my hero.
With Sapphire, Amethyst.
Yep.
And, also known as Blurple.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to see how this has turned out.
Super exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where this ends up, what the top 8's going to look like.
The only thing I wouldn't want Jack to do really well is not see the list. But hey, I'd still rather him do well. Let the list get out there. Who cares?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to see him win this thing.
Let's see it. Jack, yes.
Jack is Blurple Man today.
Jack is Blurple Man today, correct. All right, so we are still experiencing they're currently altering their cards.
Let's see here.
Now Mark has the win. Mark is 1 up. Mark's got to feel a little bit good here. He's got to feel great.
On the draw.
Yeah, on the draw.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so
I really do think Mark got I don't want to say lucky, that's not the right word, but he was very fortunate in seeing his removal.
Correct.
And seeing 2 docks to go wide.
Yes. The deck was stacked in a way that was beneficial to him. Mm-hmm. I will grant that. And it was helpful in that matchup. I do think that there is some play lines that could have been different for Roger that could have changed the outcome. That could have changed the outcome for him. All right, so we're seeing from Roger an opening that we saw last game, but from Mark we're seeing Daisy at this time.
Daisy instead of Cindy. I would imagine Roger would rather see Daisy.
Yeah. Just thinking about what could potentially be in that deck. There's likely some actions in there. We saw some actions. We know he's running Wheel. We know he's running Storm Rage on. So, the idea that you might see some characters on that Daisy Duck trigger is not that difficult. So I think he's okay with that Daisy Duck.
Oh, I like that.
Are you excited that he's reading the card again, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, come on now.
I wasn't talking about that. I like the Shift Jim. I think it's a good card.
Okay. Yeah, well, the card is good too, but
maybe not so much in this deck. It's really just a shift target. It being a 2/4 is okay.
Yeah.
Right. As a 2-drop, it's not the best.
Sure.
But you're never inking twice, right? Like you would in a blue deck.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's swinging for 4.
Yeah. That's a good point. 2, you get 2 challenger, and if you could shift it, you're looking at a 7/5 on a shift, or as I like to call,
8.
Yeah, as I like to call it, the R&B special. The shift the gym with an ink play. So
because it does the damage, so then you have 7, so you get 8.
Absolutely.
Goodbye, library.
Yeah, say goodbye to your little library. Absolutely. All right, so we're kind of seeing some thoughts here. We are able to see Roger's hand a bit. We do see he's got what appears to be a Jafar in there.
Let's see double one drops would be pretty good. I can't really see Mark's hand. It's too close.
Yeah.
So we got a Smee.
Yeah, we see
it's
it.
double one drop, right? Has to be.
It is.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and we've got Mickey Mouse
off to the races.
Yep, which is this is the Food Fight Defender. This is the one that has resist 1. We also are seeing that other Daisy Duck come down. This is quite the opening for Mark. Mark is absolutely running for that finish line.
And this is a draw start for the Amber Steel deck, by the way.
Yeah.
So imagine if you were on the draw against that, and there was a play, and you were just going to 2 ink. Like,
yeah,
I would cry.
It would be difficult.
What do you think about not questing with Daisy here?
Not questing with Daisy.
Yeah, he didn't quest with Daisy on his turn past.
I mean, going into turn 2.
So he's probably worried about the shift line.
Yeah, or going into, if we're going to turn 3, potentially a Fox. Maybe you're worried about Fox, but
this is.
I know, but you know.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Maybe
he doesn't know.
Anticipating the Fox. I mean, also, if you ink and shift Robin Hood, that with the gem would kill Daisy.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of options there, but I still feel like when are you going to get that lore?
Listen, it's not the play I would take, but I do try to see where in that moment that decision might have been made. I do feel that sometimes it's easier to see these lines from the outside in. That you got to imagine they've got the camera on them. They're
absolutely.
And so we get the cushy job.
Yep.
Hayes, we get to watch them and make the call while the chat gets to criticize them. Which, don't do that. That's not nice. But either way, I mean, do what you want. I'm not your mom. But in any case, they're in that moment. They're trying to figure out what to do, and it's tough.
You mentioned, what are you looking for as the Amethyst Steel player after the result of that game 1?
Yeah.
Outside of Pete, Mark can't stop you from doing your combo.
Sure. Yeah.
He has no way to disrupt your hand. He doesn't have a way to hold New World. So you can almost play solitaire against him.
Yeah.
And just run your combo and gain your lore with your Jafar.
Yeah.
Especially in that game when he had the Jafar.
Yeah.
Is it ever just ink and pass? Right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe you don't even play that 2-cost Jafar, you just ink and pass. So you have the inkables to be able to play 4-drop and sting out, but
yeah. I mean, if it was me, I would have turned it sideways for sure. I think because to your point, like, what can Mark do to Roger in that moment? I mean, Mark does have some answers. I agree, it's not a lot of answers, but Mark can take some pot shots. Mark can get to a point where he can start, like, poking at the things that have less willpower, start banishing those things with the songs that he's got in his deck, as few as there may be, and create a weird situation. I think we kind of saw a little bit of that. Now, certainly there were some play lines that put Roger in that spot as well in game 1. There is answers, though. I don't want to sit here and say that there's no answers.
Yeah. So I see Purple in the chat saying that he's taking different lines in his specific win con to win this matchup. Could be different than what we're seeing.
Yeah.
But my thinking is maybe, and this could have been the case. Again, we have all the information. We have both deck lists open. We have their hands. We see so much more than they see.
Yeah.
So that's very true. You're right about that. But at the same time, I do not think this matchup is that bad for Jafar Wheel. I think traditional Steel Song is terrible. But this matchup, you can actually race them.
You can. And what we're seeing here is we're watching what we might assume to be a traditionally good matchup, but it's modified. It's got some of these changes that we've talked about, like one of the 3 versions of Amber Steel, can't even call it Steel Song technically. Or you can, I guess, but it wouldn't be very effective to call it that. Okay. And so we're kind of seeing that this evolution has changed its matchup into what some people might consider to be an okay matchup. So that's always interesting to see. Now what we're watching is
he had to use a dock without triggering, which is always unfortunate when you draw multiple docks.
It is.
If it was just one card spread out and you could have chained them all, there's nothing better. But having to play it with no result, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah,
but
you're talking about a 1-card difference in that case. Which, to your point, it's the same thing as if you were to Rapunzel with 2 health instead of 3. So it's not the worst thing in the world.
Now he is beginning to quest here with Daisy.
All right.
Shows an Aladdin. We don't know what Roger's last card is.
And so 1 trigger goes to hand, but that song goes to the bottom of the deck.
And that Storm is also probably pretty relevant. So Mark's up to 5 lore now.
Yeah. Yeah, and this looks like 2 aggro decks going against each other is what it feels like at this point. They're going to go wide and they're just going to turn things sideways. That is, yes.
Big Jafar in hand.
Yeah. No,
I didn't see the rest, but I did see one big 7-cost Jafar.
Yeah. Roger's got 2 blue fairies down, so every time he plays a Floodborn, he's going to get to draw 2 cards. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, you could find any Floodborn here.
But we're in a spot now where
he has the Aladdin. We know the Aladdin.
yeah, we know he has the Aladdin. But we are in a spot now where Roger needs to start dealing with the board.
Probably like play Aladdin, draw 2 cards. But the thing is, if Mark has Rapunzel. No, it's not even that bad. I'm sorry. I'm thinking here.
Yes.
If he swings into the Daisy, how much value can Daisy get?
Luke was like, I have this on the background, and I hear you say Blue Fairy. Luke, I'm sorry. Yes, you heard me say Blue Fairy. Now come back and watch the stream, buddy. Absolutely. Oh, goodness gracious.
So we shift gem, draw 2.
Why is Blue Fairy a purple card in the first place? You know,
they need the draw.
Yeah, they do need the draw. Yeah, there's not enough draw in purple. What do you mean? How dare you speak ill of the ability to draw in purple?
I like that. I like that challenge with the Robin Hood there.
Sure.
To ensure that Mark cannot get Rapunzel value.
Yeah, it's
because that's how he climbs out, right? Like,
correct.
I do feel like this deck, if you don't let them get Rapunzel value, and we know the list here. We've seen Mark play already. He's not on mines.
He's not on mines.
So you can't shoot your own thing outside of some of the songs you have.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get Rapunzel value if you're playing against an opponent that does play around it.
Yeah, absolutely. And at this level, most people are doing that. They are playing around it, figuring out ways to keep only characters tap that will kill or will banish things. I apologize. And so, at this point, we're seeing some Blue Fairy quest action here. They are evasive, and we're looking to see whether or not this board state can change. Now, we do see Roger is performing some board management.
Yep, absolutely.
And so that board management could be the difference between winning or losing. And we are early enough in the lore game that it can make a difference here. So I think if we can see a shift here, if we can see Roger draw some cards that could potentially create a state on the board that can start answering some of these problems, we're in a good spot. Now, we know that Mark is running things like Baloo. We know that we've seen some other cards like Sven that he's played already that can keep his board somewhat under his own control.
It's rough. So that challenge, that Robin Hood challenge was very good because not only did he remove the Pete and not give him a way to swing back in to get Rapunzel value like we mentioned, but he also killed his only 3-cost Singer. So him having to hard cast that Storm is honestly like not the worst thing in the world. Okay, so he missed there.
Yep. We're seeing a questing out of the board with the exception of the character that was just played this turn. So we're watching Mark tell Roger, hey, I'm running for the races. Do something about it or figure it out. And so Roger needs to figure it out. Roger is going to have to start dealing with stuff because on board, you've got 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got 6 lore on board, 7 if you count Calhoun's ability to banish, assuming that we do choose to tap something. And
yeah, he has to. He has to swing it. I mean, he doesn't have to, but
no, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
but
you can just
you might want to. Yeah, you could just lose. That's an option. But you might want to win instead. And if you can win, you should do that. Did someone get the dick info for Dick Burns? That is funny. Maybe. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, I will never tell you, Luke. I will never tell you. You're gonna have to come down to South Florida. You're gonna have to come down to Margate to figure it out. It's only a multi-hour flight. I can't imagine why you can't show up here, buddy. But we'll figure it out.
I wish I could see Roger's hand.
Yes, you know what? Me too. And I think sometimes it's a little surprising.
Everybody holds their cards differently, so it's super hard to get a hand cam.
Yeah.
Us card game players, we are very twitchy and like to just fiddle around with whatever we're doing. Put the cards down so you're not messing with your cards.
Yeah.
And everybody has a different way of playing, holding their cards.
They do. And you know what? Bless them. And so we see Roger with a Pete down, telling Mark there will be no actions next turn, and deciding to do a little bit more of that board management that we've been talking about. Trying to just slowly creep back.
You mentioned it, the Calhoun being able to swing into the gym, getting 2 lore, so he could effectively go to 15 this next turn.
Yep.
Without knowing what's in his hand.
Yeah.
Mark's not in the worst spot here at all.
He's not. I mean, Roger is definitely on the back foot. There's no question about that. Can we claw back? can we claw back from this is going to be the key here. Both of these players are currently defending their undefeated streak in this tournament. They are both trying to stay alive with their undefeated streak. It'll put them in the best spot. Yep. They will have their option of seeding once they are able to make it to that top cut. So the undefeated piece of this is important for them.
Yep, and also 95 players.
Yes.
For the tournament today. It was a 4-case tournament up till 2 days ago, and
Correct.
now it's an 8-case tournament.
Yes.
As well as a Let It Go promo.
Yes.
2 Let It Go playmats, which we showed off earlier. They're insane. Foiled playmats. And then we have some other stuff we'll show. Peter Raimundo did some art on the art.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah. Let's go with it.
For each individual placing.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll show it here, but I just got past it a second ago. It is awesome. So you guys are gonna wait around to see that.
Yeah, it's great stuff. And Peter, it's funny. So Peter Raimundo's birthday was a couple days ago, so we got to sing happy birthday to him. So please, if you have him on social media, make sure that you reach out to him. Tell him happy birthday. Let him know that the Southside Game team, and as well as Hayes from Freedom Gaming, Gabe over from the Illuminati, we all love him and thank him for the work that he's done as well. And you should all say that to him too, because he's a good dude.
Okay, so we got Akita played.
Yeah, there you go.
Unfortunately, I think this kind of locks out the game.
I think so
for
too.
Roger, because he can't swing into anything.
He cannot. Yeah,
he played a Storm. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think at this point we just accept.
2 players. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, you guys called it. Jafar Wheel's gone.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Roger's only X1, so which is still he was undefeated up until this point. So 4-1.
Yes.
I think every X1 will probably get in to top 8. And then there'll probably be a very big bubble at X2.
I believe so as well. Yeah, it is top 8 pricing, so there is a bit of a leap there, and so we hope that we get to see Roger make it through. We are excited to be able to continue to talk through this. Jafar Wheel isn't real, and it can't hurt me.